our roots, our culture.
Okay, greetings once again to our viewers on Itamako Live. It's still Umeban Nojaulu Kangolo. We're live from Beachwood Conference Center, where we are attending the National Traditional Health Practitioners Summit. And now I have Peter von Maltitz, if I pronounce the name correctly, Zanemvula from the Western Cape province. Is also part of this summit here today. Zanemvula, welcome to Itamako Live today. Could you briefly tell us about your participation in this summit and how has it been since it started yesterday?
Amago. Yes, well, as you say, everybody claims it's a summit for the traditional healers, but actually, when you look at the documentation, everything says it's a summit for the traditional medicines. So, most of the people here, the traditional healers, are very upset because it doesn't talk to them. It only talks to what the Medicine Controls Council want to control. And so, but the people who are here decided to turn it into our own meeting, seeing as we're here. So, and all the documentation and all the thing about the law that they're putting is talking about how the public must be protected and how everybody else must be protected and how the council is protected, but it doesn't say anything about the traditional healers being protected, and they are being discriminated everywhere all the time. And so this is what we are worried about, and also worried about that it's being carried forward. We're being supposedly included into the Department of Health, and yet a few years ago, after 20 years of not being heard, since we were promised to be heard, now 29 years already that we've been told, and so they put forward again things to discuss, which have been discussed in 2017 already. They've come to conclusions, and all those things are now being thrown to us and said, oh, you've got to discuss them again. So there's no progress, and there's unlikely to be progress, because for 20 years, whatever we said never came up through the Department of Health to the minister, until somebody managed to meet the minister privately, the previous minister, and actually, he didn't know there was a problem. So the department that's actually preventing us from getting anything, I don't know how one can expect them to promote anything for us, because they don't want to, because they're controlled by pharma. So the pharmaceutical industry is controlling everything, including the doctors. So we don't want to be part of that. It's not about that. So yeah, I think we should have an independent system. They have it in India. Everybody says, look how well India is working. Yeah, but it's because there's a separate minister for the traditional healers in India. There's a separate law for the medicine in India. We're not using drugs. The definition of a drug has got its side effects. If you use the right herb in its totality, there are no side effects. So then they say, oh, well, that's not a drug. Yeah, well, exactly. So why should we be controlled by the drug cartel? And they just want to find out what the active ingredient is or whatever, and then synthetic producer, and then they want to, So in India, they chucked all those people out. They said, no, you cannot patent our medicine. Because the moment they patent the medicine, they say, oh, we're not allowed to use it because that medicine is in that plant. Now they own the plant. No, we must be protected. Our plants must be protected. They cannot say because they found a chemical in it that we can't use the plants. That's not right.
Yes, Zanemvula, you've just touched on what was going to be my last question. on the fact that many people are arguing of the fact that South Africa is far behind when it comes to traditional medicine. You have countries you've just mentioned now, India, and there's China. There are also other countries that are far, that are already been practicing this for many years.
Yeah.
South Africa is far. What do you think should be, what immediate action that you think our government should take in terms of making sure that South Africa is at the same level as those countries?
Well, those countries have a separate minister. I mean, if we can have a minister of electricity, why can't we have a minister of traditional health? Because that already will put it into perspective. Because then there's not somebody trying to prevent us. As long as we're working through a department that's filled with doctors who only believe in Western medicine, and the Western doctors in America were taken over by certain families who then financed everything, and as long as the drug companies finance our universities, finance our hospital, finance all the laws, and finance the doctors, we're never going to get anything because they're going to block it. So we need that separate institution. We need our own department of traditional healing. We need our own organization that looks at our plants.
Thanks very much, ladies and gentlemen. That is Peter von Maltitz.
Maltitz.
Yes, Zanemvula from the Western Cape.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, sir, for your time.
Pleasure.
Tamago.
Tamago.